Otara is a well-known name in Sri Lanka, mainly, of course, because of Odell. But, of course, the individual is well known for the multiple roles she plays as a well-known personality in Sri Lanka. She is, of course, the founder of Odell and Embark, and she's also an animal rights advocate. And today we have her on our program, #Let's Talk. So let's talk to Otara. Hi, Otara. Welcome to the program.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So what are you up to these days? I mean, you had a lot of hats under you.
I still do all the work with Embark, the rescues, and also have Otara Foundation, through which I do a few other projects, and also the Embark brand.
Okay.
I had the Hoovia platform, but I don't have that anymore. It was a retail platform that had products from small businesses. I actually sold it last year. That's what I do in general for the moment.
But I mean, Odell was like your brainchild, right? I mean, do you look back and think, oh, maybe I should have continued with Odell?
Well, no. I mean, I think the timing was right for me personally and overall. And and when I made the decision, I actually wanted to be in a place where I would never look back and go back and have any regrets or think that I shouldn't have done it. So I was ready at the time.
What was your goal? I mean, when you started Odell, I know that's probably a story that you've been speaking about a lot. But now with Embark and all that, do you see yourself as someone who would start as an entrepreneur, start a business, and then want to sell it and move and start on something new, branch out in different avenues?
Well, I've done it a couple of times already. So this is I've had basically Odell, Embark, Hoovia, the three. And of course there were many other brands within Odell, which I sold together with Odell. But one of the main reasons also that I moved out was because I wanted to spend more time focusing on animal welfare and environment, conservation, protection, protecting our forests, just doing more of that.
Right.
So I actually got the time to do that during the last few years.
Okay.
So right now the focus is where I said. And
what drew your interest for animal rights? I mean, you are an animal lover, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've always had since my childhood. I've always believed that we need to live in a world and a country where people and animals live in harmony, and where we actually care for animals and respect them, and also understand that they have the same feelings and the same desire for freedom and a life without suffering, just like us humans do.
Right.
I had a large platform, and I wanted to communicate that and be their voice. And even Embark, I actually started while I was in Odell, because I had a very large platform, and I just wanted people to make our street dog fashionable, our own dog, fashionable to own, and for people to give a platform to the dog so that they're visible, and so that more people would love them and care for them. And I think that has happened. I think there's a big change, which I'm very happy about, and a lot of people do their own work as well now and care a lot. Because I just think it's important for all of us as citizens of Sri Lanka, that and if we want what's best for Sri Lanka and all who live in it, we have to care for them too, equally like we do for people.
But do you think as a country that we're giving enough attention to animal rights, protecting, the street dogs, even other animals? I mean, we see a lot of stories coming out these days with monkeys going to be, exported,
very
elephant
unfortunate.
issues.
I mean, no, I don't think so. I think it doesn't happen at the level of the leadership, but I think there's great change that's happened. And by leadership, I don't mean just right now, but over the years, it's been a struggle really to bring change with new laws and, with trying to change things like our zoo, like especially the Dehiwala Zoo, is really shouldn't be like that, and the animals should not live a life like that, and many other things like that. The Animal Welfare Bill has been pending for many years. So
and you've been pushing for that with other activists as well. I know you're
So there's another group that started it in 2006, and I joined later after I left Adele. So it's been in that sense. I don't think there's enough focus at all, but I do think it's very important. Wildlife, of course, they have better laws. However, over 400 elephants are killed a year, and of course many other animals as well, and that's a lot. And really, we should be ashamed as a country to have such valuable wildlife and assets like that. And even if you move out the emotional human, the emotional part of how an animal should be treated, it's just even if you look at the tourism side. We're constantly marketing these animals for tourists, but we don't take care of them the way we should.
And even religion as well. Pageants where this is being used a lot.
Sri Lanka is, our roots are in compassion and love for all beings, and that really needs to be practiced urgently.
But despite all our voices being raised on the use of elephants, I thought I'll try to focus a bit on that for tourism and the fact that they're abused even at pageants. We still see these continuing, very little reaction from the authorities.
Where elephants are concerned, there's very great reluctance to change anything because there is a political aspect behind that, which is very unfortunate because they're beautiful sentient beings who have great intelligence and heart and emotions, just like we do, even more actually than we do. Of course, it's not just the elephants; it's other animals too. And what we need to understand also is for them, to perform, to be able to be in these pageants, to be treated that way. And it's not just to do with any elephants; it's any animal, like a monkey dancing. All that requires a lot of cruel training that goes behind that. And we choose not to, to see that the same way we choose to be blind to how we treat domestic animals who we consume. The cruelty, in all aspects is immense. And, it's not even just in Sri Lanka, but as a human race, how we've evolved is really quite shocking, especially now you see more and more, actual real footage and actual details of how things work, in the milk industry, in the meat industry, in the entertainment of animals. It's something, it's changing, and the first step to change is people becoming conscious and aware and more sensitive and more caring towards it. And that brings that's the first step to great change. So I think, Sri Lanka also and the people have changed a lot, to understanding, how things, the hurt and the suffering we cause. It's up to us to change that and not be a part of it. And to do that, we first need to understand what's wrong with it.
Right. What more can advocates like you do to ensure that our laws are strengthened when it comes to animal rights? Yes, taking to the streets has been one way that you all have been raising your voice. But the fact that still our laws are weak and still the attention is not given enough to these issues. Are there other avenues that maybe you all have been discussing and looking at?
Well, I think a lot of things actually have been stopped by people becoming more conscious and and people speaking out, like against it. So even if a law doesn't change, or if actually the legality of it doesn't change, often it doesn't happen again.
Right.
So there are many instances like that where people have really spoken out, and which has brought change. And then, for example, a company or a school, or they won't do those practices again.
Okay.
And I think it's important to understand that being a advocate, which is really not a label I want to put on, but
Sure.
it's not, it's anyone can do that, right?
Okay.
It's just we are
Okay.
using our voice on behalf of the animals. It's not some position we have got.
Yeah,
or not
yeah.
some,
No, but then you are this well-known figure,
I know.
and when you raise your voice, it's
Yeah.
heard. Sometimes, ordinary people, sometimes like us, we go and say something. Sometimes,
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't-
everyone can make a difference, and
Right.
part of what I do also is try to empower people to know that they have the power as well.
Right.
Everyone has the power
Okay.
to make a difference, and it's really a collective of that group of people. When it increases, the power becomes huge.
Right.
The voices become huge, the power becomes huge, and it brings great change. And I think that's happened because a lot of people have now joined, even if it's it may be 10 or 20 or 30 of us who get together when there's a like a big situation like the monkeys or some
Yeah.
other something with the dogs or something that needs to be stopped. But we do have a lot of people joining, and I think that's really, really important that everyone understands that they have the power and the ability to bring change too.
Can businessmen and women like you also be a stronger voice? Is there something more that you all can do as a collective?
Well, I wish that would happen. Yeah, it should happen, and I
Yeah.
wish it would. But in the sense of how things function, people remain silent and
Yeah.
stay away from getting involved. But it's.
Have you found yourself being targeted for standing up for animal rights?
Yes, of course,
Yeah.
and I think it takes a lot of strength to do it, especially when when you speak of a very sensitive subject,
Yeah.
like the elephants.
Yeah.
So various accusations, various things are said, and but it's nothing personal against anyone or anything. I practice the same philosophy, and I believe in it. But I also believe in being kind to animals, and for them to have the chance of for them to being able to have freedom, and also to have a life with their families, and to be able to roam freely without
Okay.
being dominated by humans. So even globally, there are things happening against the bullfights. There are things happening against the whales and the dolphins in aquariums, because people have now realized that it's a brainwashing as well.
Yeah.
for us. Not long ago, I worked in the zoo here, and I didn't know what was wrong.
Okay.
I wouldn't say not long ago, but
Yeah.
quite a while ago. So there's a lot of things that I have been a part of as well.
Okay.
But it's as humans, we just need to have an open mind to be able to understand that things that we were taught, for various reasons, mostly profit related,
Yeah.
that they're not always right.
Yeah.
And it may be. And it may not be legally wrong, but everything legal is not
It's not right. Yeah, because we even have a bird park that has been opened recently.
Yeah. I'm a huge, advocate. I just think birds should never ever be in cages. I
Right.
think they should always be free. What right do we have to stop them from flying and being free?
Yeah.
And that includes even in your homes or anywhere. And I think honestly, I think it's really not good for you to be so unconscious and so to deprive an animal from freedom. I really think it does affect your life and you too, when you don't see things like that, and we're always having issues with cage dogs in cages. People buy pedigree dogs,
Yeah.
and they're locked up in cages their whole life. 2-3 weeks ago, we rescued a ridgeback who had been in a cage for like 11 years, fairly small cage for 11 years. So like that, and I think it's just it's people need to be conscious of. I mean, if you just if you put yourself in the place of an animal, that's all you need to do really to know how the animal feels. To know, would you live in a cage? Would you like to live in a cage your whole life? Would you like to be, would you like to be deprived of swimming in the ocean, or we can't fly, but but we do want to have our freedom. And and if you look at animals and you look at and there's so many videos and things now. I mean, you'll see the way their emotions, the way they interact.
Yeah.
It's just it's like us, and it's actually sometimes it's beyond us, because they have a sense and they have a way of communicating which we don't understand and we can't do amongst ourselves. So, like for example, elephants, they have like a sixth sense that they know, like if someone is coming from far away or it's coming next week, they will know to go there to see that person. I mean, that's how advanced they are, which we don't know. We wait for a phone call or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like that. I think so many. It improves ourselves when we have knowledge of them.
Yeah.
And when we take.
But as long as these caged animals continue to make profits for the owners and the businesses, I mean, people continue to visit zoos. We go to parks.
Exactly.
I guess this will continue, though.
Yeah, so that's why, I mean, I think laws are important, but I think us being conscious is also important. I mean, I see now more and more people saying, that they're not going to zoos, they're not going to, have pets in cages. So much change is happening. But of course there has to be more.
Yeah.
And great change, of course, will only come with compassionate leadership.
Right. And I guess at Embark now you've been rescuing a lot of dogs. I mean, how much space is there for these animals? I mean, you can continue to take them in. What happens after that? After you rehabilitate these dogs, you set them free?
So Embark has different things that we do. One is we rescue the puppies. Sometimes we rescue the mom and the puppies, and then we find homes for the puppies, and then we sterilize the mom and put her back in her community because she's healthy and well, and that's her home. It's really important not to take them away from their, what they know to be their home. And then we also do we do a lot of rescues of injured dogs and sick dogs. And so, once they're better, we always put them back in the community, because there's always someone who takes care of them, and that's their home. So those people always take them back and take care of them. Sometimes we can't because they're very badly injured. So then we have two places that we work with where we keep our special needs dogs. So that's the main area. We also do sterilization, vaccination, a little bit less of it now. We used to do a lot of education programs, which I hope to start again soon. COVID kind of slowed things down, but it's a lot of cost and a lot of effort to do the rescues,
right?
Because there's not many people doing that, and they require a lot of care and a lot of recovery time often. But they all get a second chance in life, and honestly, there are people in the community are really caring. Yes, there's abuse, there's a lot of things that should change, but it's definitely changed where people really care for them, and they, like when we drop them back, they're like so happy that they're back, and they take care of them and feed them, and so it's wonderful to see people.
But there was this was it last year, a rather controversial move to get rid of these street dogs in Colombo. And then you see this even inside certain apartment complexes as well, where where there are lots of street dogs, and then communities are opposing this. They want these dogs out, and they try to call the authorities to get rid of them. And the concern that some of these families raise is, okay, what if a dog bites one of our kids? These dogs don't have the shots. How would you?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of things. There are community animals, and there are lots of animals that we live with, and people we live with who are part of our community. The bigger issue, the problem usually comes when they keep having puppies,
right?
Because obviously then the numbers increase, and then the males come in, and then there's conflict with the female and noise and fights, So and then and then sometimes the male gets sort of they get a bit aggressive, or they might bite, So like if you manage all those, and really it's not that hard. A lot of people do it now. They vaccinate them, they sterilize them. Sometimes they have 1 litter, then they sterilize them, or sometimes they do it before. So because again, like the wild animals, we are we have kind of spread out and become more urbanized. So obviously, when you have a lot of them, and they keep producing and producing, that's when the big problem comes. But a lot of people are really being so kind and taking care of them, and they're wonderful dogs, and they're wonderful to have around. And so a lot of people feed them. They have them there, in the apartment complex, or some other shop or a hairdressing salon, and it's wonderful to see. And it's just a matter of really caring for them. And we have to be with the mindset there is that it's not just us humans. There are a lot of other beings that
need to coexist,
that live in this country with us, and part of our education and part of being human is our ability to coexist.
It was nice talking to you, Otara. Thank you once again for coming and joining us on this program today.
Thank you so much.
And that's all the time we have for you for Let's Talk. For this week, till next time, have a good one.